You hold others to a standard you never enforce on yourself. When someone breaks a promise to you, you feel betrayed. You remember it, you withdraw trust, you protect your boundaries with surgical precision. But when you break a promise to yourself, you call it being flexible, you call it self-compassion, you call it realistic. There is a difference. Every time you say you will wake up early and then silence the alarm, you teach yourself something. Every time you commit to the difficult conversation and then avoid it, you are training. Your subconscious does not distinguish between intention and action. It only tracks patterns. Therefore, when you consistently fail to honor your own word, your brain stops believing you entirely. The promises you make to yourself become background noise. You are not struggling with motivation. You are struggling with credibility. You would never treat someone you respect the way you treat yourself. If a friend asked you to meet at 7, you would show up. If they needed your help, you would rearrange your schedule. If they were relying on you, you would follow through. But when you rely on yourself, you disappear. You already know this. You have watched yourself do it for years. The moment you are the only witness to the commitment, it stops mattering. Your brain cannot build self-respect while simultaneously treating your own commitments as optional. Therefore, every broken promise to yourself is not an isolated failure. It is evidence that you do not trust yourself, evidence that your word means nothing. You call it procrastination, you call it burnout, you call it struggling with discipline. But discipline is not what you are missing. What you are missing is integrity. Internal integrity is the alignment between what you say you will do and what you actually do, when no one is watching, when there is no external consequence, when the only person you are accountable to is yourself. That is where self-respect lives. You cannot respect someone whose word means nothing. You cannot trust someone who constantly lies to you. Therefore, when you repeatedly fail to keep your own commitments, you are systematically destroying your relationship with the one person you can never leave. The version of you that sets the goal is not the version that executes it. The version that feels inspired at midnight disappears by morning. You are not two different people. You are just split. Every unkept promise creates distance between who you want to be and who you currently are. Therefore, the gap is not about capability. The gap is about self-betrayal. You do not struggle to show up for others because the stakes feel real. Their disappointment feels like a consequence. Their judgment feels like a threat. But your own disappointment, you have learned to ignore it. You scroll past it. You rationalize it. You treat it like it does not matter. The most damaging lie you tell yourself is this: that failing yourself is less serious than failing someone else. That internal commitments are negotiable. That you can rebuild self-respect without ever honoring your word. You cannot. Therefore, every time you choose comfort over commitment, you are not being kind to yourself. You are eroding the foundation of your entire identity. Here is what most people misunderstand about discipline. They think it is about forcing yourself to do hard things. They think it is about willpower, about grinding, about suffering through discomfort. But discipline is not self-punishment. Discipline is self-respect. It is the decision to treat your own word as sacred. It is the refusal to lie to yourself just because no one else will know. It is the understanding that every small promise kept builds the person you are becoming. Therefore, when you say you will do something and then you do not do it, you are not just failing at a task. You are teaching yourself that you are not worth keeping promises to. That is the real cost. Not the missed workout, not the unfinished project, not the abandoned goal. The cost is the slow erosion of belief in yourself. You start to assume you will fail. You stop trusting your own plans. You begin every new commitment already expecting to quit. That is learned helplessness, and you taught it to yourself, one broken promise at a time. You cannot build a life you respect on a foundation of self-betrayal. You cannot become disciplined by continuing to lie to yourself. Therefore, the shift is not about doing more. The shift is about becoming someone whose word means something, even to yourself, especially to yourself. Start with one promise, not 10. Not a complete identity overhaul. One single commitment that you will not break. It does not need to be impressive. It does not need to be life-changing. It just needs to be kept. Wake up when you say you will wake up. Finish the task you said you would finish. Have the conversation you have been avoiding. Do the one thing you keep putting off, and then do not negotiate with yourself. Do not make excuses. Do not wait until you feel like it. Your feelings are irrelevant. What matters is whether you do what you said you would do. Therefore, self-respect is not built through motivation. Self-respect is built through proof Proof that when you make a commitment to yourself, you follow through. Proof that your word actually means something. Proof that you are not the kind of person who abandons themselves the moment things feel difficult. The version of you that keeps promises. That is not a future identity you're working towards. That is a decision you make right now. You either honor your word or you do not. There is no middle ground. You would never tolerate a friend who constantly lied to you, who made plans and then disappeared, who promised to change and then stayed exactly the same. Therefore, why do you tolerate it from yourself? You deserve the same loyalty, the same follow-through, the same respect that you give to everyone else. But you will never receive it from yourself until you stop negotiating, stop waiting for the right time, stop hoping motivation will arrive, stop pretending that breaking promises to yourself does not matter. It matters more than anything, because the relationship you have with yourself is the only one you can never escape. Therefore, treat it like it is non-negotiable. Stop lying to yourself. Stop breaking your own word. Stop teaching your subconscious that you are not worth showing up for. You already know what you need to do, always. The only question left is whether you will finally do it.